What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Fleaflicker NFL show. Post-draft hype. Literally, the draft ended like 10 minutes ago. We're up here getting you some high-quality content. I'm your host, Ari Bumar, and I'm joined, as always, or almost always, by Amal Ronak. What's up, Amal?
What's up, Arif? This draft was just insane, man. I mean, I saw so many surprise picks, some great people that have unfortunately fallen into the second round, and some surprise picks
First-round players. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, let's just hop right into it. We're going to talk about everything. I'm going to try to keep this as concise as possible, but let's hop right into it. With the first overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals selected Joe Burrow. For me, this is like an A pick. Like, everyone knew he was going there. Best QB on the board. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would give it an A as well, great A, because he's gonna be. I think he's got what it takes to become a star. I think and he's a hometown kid from Cincinnati. I think this was a right pick for Cincinnati, and I hope they can get back into their winning ways in that division.
Hopefully.
And yeah, so I mean that's the first quarterback they've taken. So they took Andy Dalton, and then they had Carson Palmer. So I hope that he could bring them the same luck Carson Palmer probably had, and maybe actually help them win a playoff game. So yeah, that's
Yeah, I
what
mean,
I
I
have.
don't really even think we need to talk about this pick that much because everyone knew it was happening. If they didn't do it, it would have been a shock. And yeah, I'm going to move on to Chase Young, unless you have anything else you want to say.
No, great pick.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Great pick here. This is an A-plus pick for me. The Washington Redskins selected Chase Young, the defensive end out of Ohio State. Man's a baller, best DN prospect in a good 2-3 years potentially. And really, when you're looking at what they need and how you build a team, that's literally exactly what they did, and they're stacking up their defensive line, which is what the Niners did to win a Super Bowl. So, like, I am 100% on board with this pick.
Yeah. So for me, I'm also giving this an A plus pick, A plus A grade. Yeah, I think this pick, the Redskins received a lot of trade offers, obviously for the second pick, and good for them to stick to their guns and pick honestly the best player in this draft. He's a stud. I think they'll have no problem with this pick. We also don't need to talk really much about this pick either. I think he'll be in the future. He'll be a double-digit sack guy, and I think he's going to be great for the Redskins for the upcoming years to come.
Yep, no surprises here. Going on to Jeff Okudah for the Lions. They selected the corner out of Ohio State. We had a lot of corners go early, so that was interesting to see. Jeff Okudah here, again, an A pick for me. You're literally replacing Darius Slay with a guy who's an athletic freak. He's really good at playing the corner position. He's a good tackler. Literally, there isn't many flaws about him. So you're replacing him with someone who is pretty good. Your thoughts on that, Amal?
So here's my opinion, right? You give it a grade A. I give it a grade B minus. And
Okay.
here's the reason I'm giving it a grade A B minus, right? The overall pick is a good pick. That's not the problem. The problem is they could have had Okuda back at 5, 6, even maybe 7. I know for a fact that he would have been around. The Lions, I think, failed to execute in the aspect that they should have traded that third pick away. I know for a fact Okuda would still be there. I think that's what they missed out on. But overall, the pick, I mean, Jeff Okuda is a great player. I think as a player, that is the right pick. But I think they failed to trade down. So that's the only reason I'm giving it a B minus. But as a player pick, I think I'm with you with an A. So
Yeah, really
yeah,
like the player. Maybe they could have traded out. Who knows, though? Who knows what those trade discussions are like? So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
okay, moving on right now to the fourth guy. We had the New York Giants selected Andrew Thomas, who was surprisingly for me the first tackle off the board. That being said, the tackles were really 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. So, like, literally, I don't have a problem with Andrew Thomas going this high at all. Georgia has had some really good tackles come out recently, and they had another one go later in the first round as well. So I really don't have any problem with them going tackle here because they need to, solidify that backside for their hopeful franchise quarterback in Daniel Jones. and you know he's a good player. So
Yeah. So for Andrew Thomas, I think I had him as like a one. I mean, like I talked about in the previous mock drafts, I didn't really mind any of the tackles that were being picked, like top four tackles, I should say, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. For me, I had him personally at like the 1D area. Uh, Andrew Thomas, I think it was still a great pick because I think the Giants did need an offensive tackle, and they did solidify that need. I'm gonna give this pick a B plus. I think that's probably a reasonable pick. I'd say they could have. I thought the best pick for them would have probably been a guy like Tristan Wirfs or Jedrick Willis. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Andrew Thomas either. He'll be a great pick for them,
yep,
and he will protect Daniel Jones very
and
well.
I
I
will
like
give
him.
that a B plus as well because, like I said, I don't think I graded it before, but definitely a B plus pick for me. Good player, good position. Yeah. Moving on here to the okay. When this pick happened, so this is the Miami Dolphins pick. They picked Tua Tagovailoa or Tungavailoa, however you say his name. They picked him, and I audibly went, "Thank God," because if they had drafted Justin Herbert, I would have been so pissed. I'm giving this an A grade because I think he's leaps and bounds above any sort of quarterback Justin Herbert can be. And I think the whole Justin Herbert thing was obviously a smokescreen. So good use of that too.
Yes, I would give it an A plus grade. I think that was the perfect pick. I know for a fact the Dolphins heading into this year wanted their man to be Tua Tagovailoa, and they entered into the draft, and I guarantee you they tried to convince the media and everyone that it was going to be Herbert. And I know deep down inside they were still targeting off for Tua man, and they got Tua man, and I'm giving that an A plus. That was a great, great, great pick. They could not have done any better. He is the franchise quarterback. And I remember the analyst talking on ESPN. The Miami Dolphins already in like 2005 they passed up on Drew Brees because of the injury issues. You
Yeah,
don't want to
that
make that same mistake again. I thought that was a great example of I mean, not messing it up again.
fool me once, you know that saying. So I 100%
Yeah,
agree with that. One thing before we pivot off of Tua, I want to see what they do with Josh Rosen because they traded a second rounder last season to the Cardinals for him. So I want to see where he
yeah.
ends up. I feel
I
bad
I
for the
heard
man.
I heard that he's requested for a trade. That's what I've heard
I'd assume
recently
so.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, today I've heard that he has requested a trade from Miami. Uh, I feel bad for him because I mean he was the starting quarterback for the Cardinals. Eighth pick. The Cardinals even traded up to take Josh Rosen. Then they picked Kyler. Back to back years, the Cardinals picked QB. I don't know why, but they picked Kyler, and then the Cardinals traded him to Miami. Miami clearly didn't use him because they valued Fitzmagic higher, and now they just drafted Tua. So yeah, I think he's
Poor
gonna
luck
be
for him.
poor luck. Yeah, I think now it's looking like the future's. I don't know. I don't know what's there for him now. I feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sad story. We'll see where that goes. Moving
Yeah,
on for the sixth overall pick, Justin Herbert, Oregon. Again, I don't really like Justin Herbert that much as a player, but seeing as he's probably the best quarterback on the board and you have Tyrod Taylor starting for you, no really complaints for me here. I'll give this like I give it if it was like Tua they got, I'd give it like an A plus plus. But just because it's Herbert, I'll give it like a solid B or like a B minus.
I'm giving it a B as well. I think he has all the tools that's given to him. I think he needs time to develop. I think he can become a big time quarterback, like maybe like Carson Wentz one day. But yeah, I think he's got a couple of issues, and I didn't like how he declined from his junior year to his senior year. I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah, I think he he's fine. I think he was the best quarterback available, and they needed a quarterback because I don't think Tyrod Taylor is a long term starter. Uh, yeah, I'm very happy with this pick for if I
Yeah,
was LA.
he's got the God given gifts. He just needs to see if he can put it all together mentally and hopefully improve there.
Yeah.
So with the seventh overall pick, we have Derek Brown to Auburn. You were a bit shocked about this. I was also a little bit shocked, but not really because when I was mocking to the Carolina Panthers, I said they're either going to pick Isaiah Simmons or they're going to pick Derek Brown. Isaiah Simmons was my pick, and he was your pick as well. Here they
Yep.
ended up going a different direction with Derek Brown, and honestly, I cannot complain because Derek
This
Brown is
pick is
a
great. This pick is
monster.
great.
I'm
This
gonna
is an
give it
A
like
plus.
I'll give it an A pick as well. I don't really have big complaints about it.
I'm giving it an A plus pick only because I think you can argue that he's the probably top 3, top 5 best prospects in this draft. I think he's a monster. I think this is a great pick. I like this pick for the Panthers. And yeah, I was surprised initially when they picked yeah, but I mean when they picked Derek Brown over Isaiah Simmons, but it's whatever. I'm okay with the pick.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on now to a really surprising pick for me. The Arizona Cardinals selected a linebacker slash I'm gonna call him a defensive playmaker, Isaiah Simmons, and they picked him pretty high at 8th overall. For me, the way I see this is this pick was really shocking to me originally, but now that more I think about it, I think they're trying to replace Tyrann Mathieu, and he can kind of do that. Um, the draft guys were completely clueless. They were saying he was like the best safety and the best linebacker and the best pass rusher. I was like, that's just not true. He's not the best pass rusher. He's not the best safety, but he's pretty good at what he does. And
Yeah,
I'd give this pick a solid B. I think my biggest problem
that's the
here, and
same with me.
I was watching the draftathon, and Kyler Murray was on when they picked this guy, and you could see like the look on his face, like they didn't draft offensive line for him. They had the choice of 3 tackles here. They could have gone with one of those top 3, Mekhi Becton, Jedrick Wills, or Tristan Wirfs. They didn't, and that man was shocked. I felt bad for him. So the only reason I'm giving this a B, I'll give it a B minus, just because I think tackle would have been you would have gotten an equally solid player, I think, and you would have actually filled a need. I don't really know if this defensive weapon is a need, but I digress. He's a great player.
Yeah, I think Isaiah Simmons is a great player. I had him at 7. You had him at 7. He went 1 pick down. No big deal. But obviously, I think based on the team needs, I'm quite surprised by it. I have this pick also as a B, because he is the answer to their problems. But I think yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Yeah, I think that's
But
a good way of saying it.
yeah, I don't, because I mean, like, is he a safety? Is he a linebacker? I don't know. What position could he play? I'm genuinely undecided on that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would he's like the Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers also
Jabril
he was like
Peppers. Yeah, he was more of a
multi-dimensional.
hybrid guy as well. I think he's
Yeah.
definitely better than Jabril Peppers was
Oh
coming
yeah,
out of Michigan.
obviously, yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, multi-dimensional. I think he's like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
like it.
I really like this pick as well. I mean, I don't really. I like the player. I don't really like the position. I'll leave it as that.
Yeah, I agree. I like the player, not the position.
Okay, so we got at number 9 here. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I really like both their picks. They end up picking C.J. Henderson, 9th overall here, my second ranked corner on the board. Honestly, the way I see it, you need a corner. You lost AJ Boye, you lost Jalen Ramsey. We predicted them to draft a corner, and that is what they did here. And CJ Henderson was second best guy on the board.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think maybe slightly too high, but I agree with you. I think they could have arguably traded down. It's probably still got him, but not much lower. But yeah, I think I gave this pick a B plus. Great pick because they're replacing AJ Boye and Jalen Ramsey, 2 outstanding corners that Jacksonville just lost. Yeah, I mean, I heard a lot of scouts saying that Henderson could even be better than Okuda, and because I think he's got a lot of damn potential. I think it's going to be very. I think they'll both be good players. I'm a fan of this pick.
Henderson's problem was that last year from Florida, he sort of took a slight dip, and it looked more like he was trying not to get hurt, which makes sense. So, like, prospect wise, if you watch his tape, like total, if he like actually, put 100% in, he probably could have had very similar tape to Okuda. And that's people thought that anyway, which is why he went at number 9. So I give this pick a B plus as well. He's a good player and it's a position of need. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He's very good. Okay. 10th pick here, we had the Cleveland Browns. They picked here, in my opinion, the best O lineman in the draft, and I think your opinion also the best O lineman in the draft, Jedrick Willis from Alabama. This was a great pick. I
A
originally
plus
here,
pick for me.
yeah, I had here also an A plus pick here because I being dead honest, I did not think he'd fall to 10. Uh, he's I initially thought that Andrew Thomas would have fallen to Cleveland because of the Nick Chubb and Andrew Thomas factor and how they both went to UGA. But Jedrick Willis, I think I don't know if you saw Joe Thomas's tweet. He gave like a pros and cons of Andrew Thomas, and he had a lot
Yeah,
of
could you
pros.
read it off for me if you have it on hand?
Yeah, yeah. Give me 1 second. In the meantime, can you talk about him?
Yeah, for me, like I said, this is an A plus pick. Maybe at worst an A. You need an offensive line. You need to protect Baker Mayfield. You got Jack Conklin in free agency. Now you're going out and solidifying that opposite tackle position here with Jedrick Wills. There's a reason why Alabama tackles get drafted really high. You have the guy, I think I'm forgetting his name now, but the guy who went to Cincinnati last year, he was a baller. And now you get Jedrick Wills, who is another baller. Alabama has great tackles, similar to Georgia, and you need it to protect Baker Mayfield, and that's what you are doing here with Jedrick Wills at pick 10 for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think I already said my grade before. I gave this an A plus as well. So Joe Thomas, probably top 3, top 5 greatest offensive tackles of all time. Amazing. How he also lost all that weight too is also amazing.
Yeah, he lost
Uh,
like 50 pounds real quick.
yeah. So he tweeted about a couple days back. Actually, he gave a pros and cons list of all the offensive linemen and all the offensive linemen that are projected to go day one in the NFL draft. So when he talked about Jedrick Wills, he said the pros are he can change direction. He has the ability to create power, ability to stop power quickly, mobility, technique is clearly the best in the draft, size, and he has great size. And I think you saw that. Did you see his dad? It's like ridiculous. Oh my
Yeah, it's a
god,
big family.
it's a big family. But the cons is if you see his tape, he has a lot of mental lapses with penalties, and he gets lulled to sleep by lesser opponents. So the cons are definitely something that you can easily work on. I think that's not a big deal. And he said overall he's the guy who's the most NFL ready and would clearly be the number one guy if the ceiling for Becton wasn't so high. So he had Mekhi Becton probably as a higher ceiling than Jedrick Wills,
Yeah,
which is fine. I think that's fine. That's reasonable. But I think right now I'm with him. I think and he also said he's for sure the most surefire offensive lineman in this draft, and I agree with him. I think he's right now the most ready out of all the offensive tackles. But it's not like that big of a difference between him and Andrew Thomas. He's a clear right tackle, and I think yeah, he's amazing. I like the pick.
yeah. I watched Brett Coleman. I don't know if you know who that is on YouTube. He's a YouTube film analysis. I guess you could say, and it was his film breakdown of Jedrick Wills and Tristan Wirfs. And if Brett Coleman says these guys are good, I know they're good, and that's pretty much what I use for my film analysis of this guy. I really like what I saw. Everything Joe Thomas said was pretty much everything I saw in that film analysis and what I've seen from personal tape. So good pick, good player. I really like what they're doing down there in Cleveland for their offensive line and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
yeah, moving on here with the New York Jets. The New York Jets ended up selecting here. They ended up selecting Mekhi Becton from Louisville. First of all, this man is massive. He's really a mountain. I didn't really realize he was that big until they showed the video of him like hugging his mom or whatever. He's huge. His arm span is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's nuts. Yeah, he's so big.
Now, if I'm ranking this pick, I'd give it a B minus just because I think you could have gone with a player like CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy instead, and you probably would have helped that team slightly more. But McKee Becton, Mackay, whatever his name is, I really like the player and I like the pick. That would have been my second pick. So it's like a solid, like it's a passing grade. It's a good passing grade. Like I'm not hating on the pick or the player. I like both of them. I just think they could have possibly gone a different direction. What say you, Amal?
Yeah, I'm giving this probably a B minus B. Yeah, I'm probably around the same way as you. I think he's also. I think I agree with basically everything you said. He's a freak. He's huge. I think maybe a bit too big. But I mean,
Honestly,
yeah,
that is a thing for tackles
yeah. I
where
mean,
they
yeah.
can't get enough leverage.
I also hope his drug tests are clear too. I hope he's not directly impacted
He looks more like the
from that.
guy who eats more than the type of guy who'd be doing, PEDs, but
Yeah,
that's
sounds
besides the
like
point.
exactly. I don't know how he would. I don't know how you can tell. But I think yeah, I would give it a B minus
He's a
B. I
mauler,
think
man.
yeah, I agree. I think Joe Thomas said he has the most potential. He has the most potential. I think I mean, for as a NFL viewer, it's very hard to see offensive tackles and see who has the highest potential, obviously. But I'm saying, I think maybe Tristan Wirfs would have been a better pick here, uh, at 11 for the Jets. And I also think, like you said, I think CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy would have been a good pick here too, at 11, because I think they really need a wide receiver help, and that's what we talked about in the mock draft the other day. How they lost their only receiver in Robbie Anderson, and now their wide receiver one is an injury-prone Quincy Enunwa, and I can't trust that guy to save my life. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's going to be interesting what they see later, what they do later on the draft. We can look at
that's a
that
good thing.
before we
Yeah,
leave. I want to look at some of the early second round picks and see if, it makes sense for them to maybe go offensive line, because that drop off between offensive line here versus offensive line in the second round is probably going to be way greater than the dip in the wide receivers here versus in the second round. So that'll be fun to see. Um, yeah, let's move on. So with the let's see, the 12th pick, Mike Mayock and the Las Vegas Raiders select the first player to Las Vegas. They selected wide receiver Henry Ruggs from Alabama. He's 5'11", 190 pounds ish. I'm going to give this pick a solid B plus. I don't think he was the best wide receiver on the board by any means. I think he's still really good. So like, I can't really hurt the pick that much. He's such a speedster, fastest guy in the draft. You need wide receivers for Derek Carr. And honestly, I don't have much problems with the position. Slight problem with the pick, the player, but it's really like similar to the tackles 1A, 1B, 1C. It was just that he was more like 1C for me.
yeah. I think I'm gonna give this a B, maybe B plus. I'm probably leaning towards B. Uh, yeah, I think he's a speedster. Um, has lots of potential for sure. But I don't see the wide receiver one thing. I can't see that in Henry Ruggs. That's the only problem with me. But yeah, I know Oakland loves their speed, so I think they did well with this pick. And yeah, yeah, great pick.
I
So
feel like Las Vegas made multiple Las Vegas picks this year, and they do every year. We're drafting Clelin Ferrell fourth overall, where it's a guy they really like, not many other people really like, but they still go with him. Can't really complain because he's a good player.
yeah. And in our next pick, we had the first trade in the draft where we had the Buccaneers move up a whole one pick from 14 to 13, and they selected Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle out of Iowa. And now they finally solidified their protection for Tom Brady. This was like the dream pick. It like completely like fell into their hands. They could not have gone any better for them. And amazing pick for me. I'm giving this an A.
Same thing for me. A great player. Again, one of those top four tackles. He needs to protect Tom Brady. I don't even really feel like discussing it that much because it was a home run of a pick and really good trade too. Because you're fearing that maybe San Francisco might draft a tackle, and you're not giving up that much, and you're also, if you're San Francisco, you're getting some solid capital for it. So like it both
Yeah,
ways.
yeah. And then the 14th pick were the Niners as they traded down one pick. and they got Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina. This was not a bad pick. I thought the problem with because I mean they did immediately fill the hole with
DeForest
the
Buckner.
Buckner trade, but I didn't understand why they traded Buckner when they just and for that same Colts pick just to pick another defensive tackle. I don't know. I mean,
The way I see it
it did
is
fill up the hole.
you're pretty much traded Buckner for Javon Kinlaw and a fourth round pick with the other trade they just made. And the way I see it is you make this move if you think Javon Kinlaw has a higher ceiling and could be better than DeForest Buckner. I think he personally could very well do that. I would
I
give it
agree.
a I'd give it a B just because I don't really like the position, but I really love the player.
Yeah, I'm probably a B minus. B minus, maybe even touching C plus because I don't know because it's not a need. I thought they for sure I thought the reason they traded for this pick was to get a wide receiver. And in the last mock draft, I talked about offensive linemen here, which is also not a bad idea. But I think yeah, I'm shocked with this defensive tackle pick to say the least. But yeah, not a bad pick for person. Not that he's a great player. I just don't. I don't know if I agree with the team though.
Yeah. We can
But
move
it's
on
definitely a
to
need.
yeah. We can move on to Jerry Judy here for the Denver Broncos, picked 15th overall. I will give this an A just because they obviously had him ranked over CD Lamb. And the way I see it, you needed a wide receiver to pair along with Cortland Sutton on the outside for Drew Lock. And that's pretty much what you got here. So I'm not going to complain again. Lots of really home run picks, I think. And this was a home run pick.
Yeah, I'll give this an A. I'm gonna give this probably even A plus because I think they're very happy at 15. I thought they would need to trade up to probably get one of those guys. They should be very happy. I think Jerry Judy's a great pick here. Uh, I think him and CeeDee Lamb, the gap was like very, very minimal. I mean, it wasn't a very, very big difference at all. I think it's just based off who you prefer, based on like how you personally just see it. Because I really there's so many people that say Judy's better. There's so many people that say Lamb's better. So I mean, I'm okay with this pick. I'm giving this an A, maybe even A plus.
Yeah. Moving on to 16. We got AJ Terrell going to Clemson. Now, when I first saw this, I was sort of like questionable, but the more I looked at it, he dropped solely because of one bad game, pretty much. And he's a really good guy. He has that mentality. He has the size, he has the speed, he has all the athletic gifts. For them, he pretty much had like one really bad game, and other than that, he was pretty solid to my knowledge in film. I'll give it a B minus just because I think Tristan Fulton from LSU and Jeff Gladney were better than him. But again, you're filling a void. You lost Desmond Trufant when you're the Falcons, so I'd give it a solid B minus.
Uh, I'm gonna give this grade as a C. I'm gonna give it a C because there were better players on the board, and they do need a corner. I mean, I knew they would really want. In our mock draft, we talked a lot about how Henderson would have been like the perfect player, and I knew they were trying to trade up to try to get him. And initially, they were trying to trade up to get Jeff Okuda, but I mean, because I knew corner was their number one need, I think they got, in my opinion, the wrong corner at this pick. But and I'm surprised they weren't more aggressive in trading up. I think I'm surprised they just stood still. Maybe they had to overpay a lot, and maybe they just didn't like that. So yeah, I'm probably giving it a C. Yeah, C.
Okay, moving on here with the most hated team ever, CeeDee Lamb to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm giving this pick a C minus, maybe a D plus. I really like the player. I hate the position. The way they drafted like a luxury team, like they could afford to draft, wide receiver, which I consider a luxury position when you pay $20 million to Amari Cooper. You have Michael Gallup there. You don't really need wide receiver. You definitely need some defensive line talent. Definitely need some safety talent. Definitely need some corner help. You completely voided and jumped over those. You go with an offensive weapon. I really like the player, so I'll give it a C minus. hate the position, and also I'm just salty that they picked him instead of the Eagles. So yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go the complete opposite way for you. I'm gonna give this an A grade. And here's the reason I'm going to give this an A grade, because he was the best player and he's too good to pass up on. I think we had Kaylavon Chason in our mock draft. I'm pretty sure so many people had Kaylavon Chason for that pick, or maybe Xavier McKinney for the Cowboys, because they needed a secondary. Byron Jones just left. It's not very strong at the moment. They don't have it. I mean, we talked about this, I think, a little bit earlier, because you were very, very angry at this time. I think they tied up so much money on Cooper, so I can kind of see why it wouldn't make any sense whatsoever for them to pick a wide receiver here. But I think he might be one of the top receivers in the NFL in a couple of years to come. I think he's got DeAndre Hopkins potential. I think, as we talked about it before, he's going to be a superstar as long as Dak does the right thing and Mike McCarthy doesn't screw it up. Yeah, that's why I'm giving it an A. They don't need him, but him and Amari Cooper is pretty scary. And I would not be surprised, actually, if he outperforms Amari Cooper within the next 2 years.
See, I think his ceiling is capped just because there's so many people there. I don't want to talk about this too much though, because I'm scarred.
Are you scared about CeeDee Lamb against the Eagles secondary? Do you think
Oh,
CeeDee?
100%.
Yeah, that's the problem as an Eagles. I mean, for an Eagles fan, I think that would be probably the more scary thing, because I mean, now the Eagles just lost Malcolm Jenkins, but they did get Darius Slay, but Slay on Cooper, but then CeeDee Lamb. It's gonna be interesting how that happens. Overall, yeah, that's the only reason I think as an Eagles fan you should be scared. As a pick, though, yeah, for team needs, this is probably an F, because they don't need a receiver whatsoever. But I think based on the best player available, yeah, I'm gonna give it an A. I like it a lot.
I hate Dallas. Dallas sucks.
And I hate it. I hated this. But here's the thing: when I saw this pick, I hated it so much, because I really despised it. I did not. I called it. I said 5 minutes before. I said I do not want to see CeeDee Lamb to go to Dallas. And right when Denver picked Judy, I'm like, oh shit, we're screwed. We are screwed. I don't know. I mean, like we're done. And then they got it. That's the only way I can put it. And I knew you were pissed. I knew for a fact you were pissed. And
do you hear all this sighing I'm doing? That's what.
It's very upsetting, considering the receivers picked afterwards. And CeeDee Lamb is just, he's going to be he's a stud.
He's light years above everyone else picked.
He's a stud. Light years after everyone else that was picked after him. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think Ruggs and Judy, you can justify that kind of. But I mean, it's so sad. They got the dream pick. And I knew for a fact, they discussed it prior to that, if CeeDee Lamb falls, there's no way in hell we're not going to take him. And I'm pretty sure they said the same thing probably about Judy too. And if Judy went to the Cowboys, you'd probably be just as pissed. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, I would be.
It sucks. It just so happens that, in my opinion, the best receiver in the draft goes to my least favorite team. So
can we stop talking about this, please? Thank you.
I'm done talking about it. Let's go.
I'm moving on. Okay, so right here we got with the 18th overall pick, we have the Miami Dolphins selecting Austin Jackson, tackle from USC. I'm going to give this a solid, B. This is like a B minus B type of grade for me. He's a solid tackle, and you need one to replace Larry Tunsil. Again, he's not one of those elite guys, but there's a reason why he was picked in the first round. It's because he's a first-round player. At least you could say that for most of the players in this draft. What say you, Amal?
I'm gonna give this a C+, because I don't think he's gonna start initially. That's the only reason. I think, and I also think there were better offensive tackles on the board. I think Josh Jones was better.
Josh Jones, yeah.
I think Ezra Cleveland was a better pick as well. But yeah, I don't mind. I mean, C+, yeah.
Yeah. Moving on here with the let's see with the 19th overall pick, we have the good old Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Oakland Raiders. We have them selecting Damon Arnett, the cornerback from Ohio State. And I was really down on this to begin with, like F down. And then the more I realized, like people were mentioning in the comment section that, oh, you should look at Damon Arnett. And I looked at him, and I don't hate this pick at all. I think this is a solid like C pick for me. I don't think he was that good. I think he's definitely heavily underrated. And that's why before when we started this show, I said the Raiders made a Raider pick here, and that's what they did. So I give it a C. I'll give it a C. He's like a solid guy, underrated. Think there are better guys on the board. Like the position they went though.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a D because yeah, I think this is a Raiders pick. I think that's all I need to say because the Raiders picking Cleveland Farrell last year at 4 blew my mind. I think that was probably one of the more shocking picks I've ever seen. But yeah, I think definitely D. There were way better corners in my opinion. But I think he would have been a sleeper pick maybe in like day 2. I
I
think he
think
would
he
have
was a
been
second round corner.
yeah, I thought he was definitely second round, maybe mid second round. That's where I had him at least when I was like looking positioning players. I think he was a mid second round pick. But yeah, I mean overall it's whatever. I mean the Raiders they already had a first round pick. They're just using the Bears pick there. It's whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Um,
So
Caleb Von Chason at
yeah,
20.
this
I
was a great pick.
I'm gonna give this an A. I'm gonna give it an A. Just thought about it. It's definitely
Yeah,
worthy of an A.
I'm giving
You
it an A
drafted
as well.
Josh
Yeah.
Allen last year from Kentucky. Now you're going out here and drafting your eventual replacement in Yannick Ngakwe. You lost Calais Campbell, and he's a 3-4 outside linebacker. I don't know if you saw the quote they brought up during the draft. He was like, "Yeah, I can do all three things. I can speak three languages. I can rush the passer. I can, defend against the run, and I can defend anyone you want me defending, like covering them was." And honestly, I don't know about the coverage part. The other two parts are pretty correct. He's a 3-4 outside linebacker. They run a 3-4. I think him plus Josh Allen could be a really potentially elite pass rusher duo to move into the future.
Yeah. I'm giving it an A as well. I think for the same reasons as you have it. I think him and Josh Allen is going to be unstoppable D line for the years to come. And I think also, yeah, direct replacement for Johnny. So yeah, I like the pick.
Yeah, moving on here to my Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't realize who we were talking about until this happened. So,
Oof, oof,
um,
oof, oof, oof.
give me like 2 seconds. I gotta collect myself. Okay, so with the 21st overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Jalen Reagor, wide receiver out of TCU. I'm going to give this a solid C. Obviously, I like the position. And the guy, I think he has a higher ceiling than Justin Jefferson. He's a speedster. He has really good jump ball potential. He's
Yeah,
I think his ceiling could be OBJ if he hits that. And he needs to be developed. He has raw routes. His quarterback play was really bad, but he still had some really bad concentration drops where, like, obviously, I think his drop percentage would have been definitely much lower if he had Joe Burrow throwing him the ball. But there were definitely a couple plays where you're like, man, you just caught a really good contested catch. Why are you like dropping a wide open like drag route? So he needs to be developed. I don't think Philly has the wide receiver coach could do that. They haven't really shown that in recent years. But we have a new guy there. I don't even know his name because that's how much I care about our wide receiver coach. And I'm like a Philly diehard sports fan. That shows you how much I care about this coach. Hopefully, he can pull out something with Jalen Reagor. I think Justin Jefferson was the safer pick. Jalen Reagor, higher upside. I'm just going to give it a solid C, man.
yeah, I'm gonna give it maybe one notch lower. I'm gonna give it a C minus. This was a high risk, high reward pick. I think if they get it right, it's a nuts pick. They won. They got the jackpot pick. Kind of like the Giants with OBJ because OBJ initially.
He was a
I mean,
lottery pick as well.
yeah, I think that I think him and Brigor in that aspect had a lot of the same weaknesses.
And
And
also, OBJ
same,
had some injury concerns, if I remember, early in his rookie year. Lots of people were saying he might be a bust. So now you're giving me a little bit of hope, Amal. So thank you.
yeah. I think yeah. Here's the thing, right? I'm obviously gonna give it a C minus only because there were better receivers on the board. And they do, and I would have given us an F, but the thing is they filled the need, so I'm happy with that. And he has potential that I don't think any other receiver could potentially match because he's speed. He's a speedster. He's got the speed. I think he honestly could even be faster than Ruggs.
I
Uh,
think his potential is outside the top three. I think he and Denzel Mims and probably T. Higgins have that same like potential ceiling where they could be absolutely game wreckers. But
yeah,
he's definitely the riskiest out of the three of those players.
yeah. That's my own. That's the problem. I have so many. I have probably four receivers that were available at the time ahead of Rigor.
Yeah,
Uh, Not necessarily a major problem, but I mean that it's whatever. I think, yeah, high risk, high reward. He could bust completely. That's the only problem I have with it. He could be like Nelson Aguilar 2.0. That's all I gotta say.
I
So
think lots of Eagles fans are
I got
hitting on this.
I got your hopes high, but I also got your. I'm also trying to get you
I
back to
think lots of
reality.
people are prematurely disposing him, and that's Philly sports media. Like it's
Yeah,
pretty.
you got to look at the tape. To be fair, I looked at the tape for this guy. He is a baller when you watch his
When
highlights.
you look at the tape,
Problem
you're
is,
gonna like him way more than you would think. So
yeah,
all
exactly,
you Philly sports fans, just shut the hell up and go watch this film. And then
exactly.
I've
You
watched
got
a
it.
few games. I've watched film analysis videos. I've put in like solid couple hours of work into this guy, and I can say he has a really high ceiling, but he's a risky pick, and that's where I want
Yeah,
to end it off with Jalen
agreed.
Rager.
I think we're in the same boat here. I think yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
Not a bad pick.
Justin
20,
Jefferson here for Minnesota.
yep.
Um, I'm gonna give this B plus, just because again he's a slot receiver, but you're pretty much getting a Stephon Diggs in him, so you're filling a need and you're drafting a really good player. I can't really complain that much. He's a baller, really good contested catch, pretty good route running, pretty good hands, unlike John Rigor. Yeah, what say you, Amal?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an A minus. Great pick as well. I think. Uh, yeah, I thought it was an A minus also because he fell to them. I like the pick. And like you said, I think he's playing. I think his game is almost similar, very similar to Stephon Diggs, and the Vikings just lost a great receiver in Stephon Diggs, and now I think Justin Jefferson could potentially fill that hole, and I like the pick just because of that. And
I'll
I
move it
think
up to an A minus actually because they didn't have to trade up for him. I
yes, they
thought they
did.
would have to do that because I
Correct.
thought he'd probably be gone by Philly, probably gone by the Jaguars here. He ended up not going there. I like that you didn't have to trade up for him, and he's a good player, and he's a Stephon Diggs clone in my opinion. So
Yep, I agree. So next pick we have 23, the Los Angeles Chargers. They
traded
selected
up
Kenneth.
here, right?
Yeah, they traded up. They traded up. That's probably one of the shockers. I think I'm not gonna lie because I thought for sure here, no doubt, Patriots are on the clock at 23. No way, Jordan Love, he's there. We initially thought he would for sure be traded up in our mock drafts. We although had him at 23, we thought for sure he'd be picked in the top 20, and he got picked at. And then 23, Pats are on the clock. It's got to be Jordan Love, and they traded out of the first round. I'm surprised that the Pats did that. They're trying to
Yeah,
accumulate more picks. Makes sense.
we have a friend who's a huge Pats fan. Shout out to Nate. He was texting me during this, and he was pissed off because
Yes,
he
he
wanted
texted
Jordan
me as
Love
well. He
first,
was very mad.
wanted
He was
Murray
very mad.
second. Both those are gone, and honestly, they accumulated picks. Obviously, I think watch out for Jalen Hurts day two. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
I think
Patriots.
the Pats. Yeah, Pats are definitely going to look into Jalen Hurts. I know that for a fact, especially because of the Nick Saban, Bill Belichick connection. I know that for sure. Uh, Jalen Hurts it's a guy to definitely look out for. And I know Jalen Hurts didn't obviously play for Nick Saban recently, but I mean, yeah, I think that's definitely something to look out for. Jalen Hurts in day two. But yeah,
Yeah,
Kenneth Murray with this
like
pick,
him
I
as a player a lot.
like him as a player, but not. I think not the right fit. in my honest opinion, I'm gonna give it a B minus. Actually, no, I'm gonna give it a C. C, yeah, because
Really,
I
I
don't
think he's really good. The way I see him is he's like a Tremaine Edmonds clone coming out of college, where he was really big, really athletic, but he just didn't know what the hell he was doing. Like he would bite on run plays and fakes and
here
all of that.
the reason I give it a C because they had to move up to get Kenneth Murray. They didn't need to
Yeah, they
move
give
up.
up a second and a third for
They
him.
gave up the second. Yeah, exactly. I didn't like that. Now the Pats have 7 picks from rounds 2 to 4. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's the only reason. I like Kenneth Murray a lot. I think we talked about him. I don't know if we exactly had him picked in our mock draft, but for the first round, but we had him, I think, maybe late first round, if not maybe early second. But I think, yeah, you didn't need to trade him. I'd trade up for him, especially with the price tag. I don't know. That's the only reason. Uh, yeah, that's my honest opinion. See,
yeah. So we can move on here to a pick I really like. Actually, moving on here, we got 24th overall, Cesar Ruiz, the offensive. I'm going to call him an offensive guard slash center
yeah,
from Michigan. I think this is a solid A pick here. He's best interior offensive lineman in the draft. And the way I see it is, I'm forgetting who you lost in the to retirement. You lost someone when you're in New Orleans, and you need to solidify that offensive line. I think he's probably going to play guard, to my knowledge, from what I read about from other Saints fans reacting to this. I like him as a player, and honestly, you need to solidify that offensive line, and that's one of the keys to building a winning team, and that's what winning teams do. They build up the lines, and New Orleans is a winning team, so it's a smart pick in my opinion.
yeah. I'm giving this a B plus. I think that's also not unreasonable. I think Cesar Ruiz is probably the best interior lineman in the draft. I think he'll probably play offensive guard. I think that's a great replacement. I don't remember his name, but I think he retired. But I think it was a good pick. It was a good pickup. I watched a couple of tapes of him. I think he's got great potential. Not
Yeah,
Quentin, not Quentin Nelson potential, but
potential, but he's going to be a good player for that team.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I'm
he's
moving on
good.
here to 25. We had another trade happen here. Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers traded up with the Minnesota's Vikings, and here they go with Brandon Ayuk. You go first, and then I'll give my takes on this.
So I'm giving this a B minus. And the reason I'm going to give it a B minus is because there were better receivers on the board. But honestly, they needed a receiver. I thought they were going to go receiver at 13. And when they traded up, but here's the thing, right? This is what the mastermind of John Lynch is. So they traded down only one pick, and they used that fourth round pick that they got
To trade up and grab their
to
guy.
trade up. And yeah, they moved up 6 picks by just only trading one spot down. I thought that was pretty genius of him. And they got their guy clearly in Brandon Ayuk. I think great pickup. Just my only opinion is there were better receivers out there. But yeah, he has insane potential. I think, in my opinion, he's probably up there for probably one of the most NFL ready receivers right now. He
Yeah,
doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. I don't
I
see a
don't
lot.
think he has an extremely high ceiling, but I think his ceiling is high enough. I'm gonna give this an A minus because,
Oh
like you
wow.
said, I think John Lynch, the way he maneuvered the trade, I'm fine with him giving up draft capital. I think Brandon Ayuk, he was my seventh wide receiver on the board. The other two did not get drafted, the two above him. Brandon Ayuk here, I think he's a speedster, and I think he really fits what you want to do when you're a team like the 49ers. I really like him. I'm high on this move. I think he's going to be a baller for that team.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so I want to talk about this next pick. So next pick is
Oh,
another trade that happened. So Green Bay Packers moved up from, I believe, 30 to 26, and they selected Jordan Love, quarterback out of Utah State. This was, in my opinion, just a shocker. We joked about this, I think, off recording right before the end of our mock draft. We talked about jokingly hey, you never know, man. Jordan Love could get taken by the Packers. We joked about it. I never took it seriously, and it actually ended up happening. I could not believe it. I'm giving this grade an F. I have to give it an F because come on, man. Devontae Adams is their only receiver right now, and you're trading up for this guy too. You may have honestly had him at 30 as well. So it's just a bad execution all around. The only good news I guess you can get is maybe he's learning from Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, so did DeShone Kizer, and look at DeShone Kizer. Look where he is in his life. So I don't like this pick at all. Great QB. I really like him. He has probably one of the higher ceilings in this draft. Higher ceiling than definitely Justin Herbert. Maybe even higher than Burrow or Tua. You never know because I really like him. I like his deep throw accuracy, but I don't understand what the move for trading up. It doesn't make any sense. And I know Aaron Rodgers is definitely pissed right now, and I would be too if I was a Packers fan because receivers are obviously the biggest need. I thought Mims was the perfect fit here. I think Mims or Higgins would have definitely been the ideal pick here. And I think on most people mock drafts, they had a receiver here. Yeah, overall,
I strongly disagree with your grade here. I want to see if there's something below an F that we can give this pick. Maybe like, F minus, below a fail, like just straight up giving them like a 1 out of 100 on a test.
Bill O'Brien scale.
We're gonna give this a Bill O'Brien grade. This is a Bill O'Brien move. We're gonna give it a double BB. That's what we're gonna call this, the grade. No A, B, C, D, E, F, G, none of that. It's double B. You're causing unnecessary conflict with your quarterback. He's only 36 years old. So I'm going to give this a BB unless they know something about Aaron Rodgers. Like he's come to them and told them, oh, yeah, I'm planning on retiring in 2 years. So do what you will with that information. If that happened, if that behind the doors conversation happened, then I'm giving this a B. If that didn't happen and you're prematurely drafting a successor, I'm giving this a BB. He's a really good player. Love the player. Extremely despised the position and where he went. So honestly, I don't want to even talk about this much because I feel like vomiting thinking about what you're doing with Aaron Rodgers. He's throwing to Alan Lazard, bro, and you had T. Higgins there.
Jake Kumaro, Alan Lazard, Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
MVS is a bum. Like,
oh my goodness. Oh God, this is so bad.
It's a BB. We're gonna coin a new term if we ever make it big in NFL media.
It goes on and on. God,
if we go big in NFL media, I'm giving this a BB. Like we're gonna make a new BB grade for Bill O'Brien. That's what this was.
This is garbage. It was completely garbage. And the only way that I'll make this justifiable is if he becomes the next Aaron Rodgers. And the aspect of how Aaron Rodgers took over Brett Favre, and that was a smooth transition. And if this is a smooth transition as well, then I'm gonna give this grade an A plus 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 plus. But if it's not, it's gonna be an F. I'm sorry, because you're just wasting his talent. I mean, it worked for Aaron Rodgers considering he was benched, but I mean, I don't know. They clearly see something we don't.
Yeah, I'm moving on, bro. I don't want to talk about that. We're going to go to the second most surprising move this year. The Seattle Seahawks did not trade away their first-round pick, which they do literally every single year. I think it's the first year since 2012 they haven't done that. Jordan Brooks, he was, I think, my third linebacker on the board. They drafted him in 27 out of Texas Tech. He was behind Kenneth Murray and Patrick Queen. I'm going to give it a C just because Patrick Queen was on the board. I like the position, I guess. But you could have gotten a better player.
I'm with you here. I think C here because Patrick Queen was on the board. I think that's as simple as you can keep it. He's a great player, but yeah, I think you could have gotten him probably even later. But yeah, that's why I'm giving it a C.
Okay, moving on here.
And also, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't trade the pick. And I'm surprised they didn't go after a guy like Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah.
Oh, well, who knows what's going in that gum-chewing guy's mouth. Good old Pete Carroll. Moving on here, we got at this pick, we got the 28th overall Patrick Queen going to the Baltimore Ravens. It's late. Sorry if I'm stuttering, you guys. Patrick Queen, I'm giving this an A, or I'll give it a B plus. I really like the player here. I really like the position you went here. It's a perfect match. Nothing really much I can complain about here.
Yeah, I'm giving this an A plus actually because it's perfect. That's a great value for him. Uh, I think this was. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Ravens. They're making great picks now. Uh, I think this is a replacement for C.J. Mosley, who they lost to the Jets.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I think
He's that
that's why.
smaller, athletic type of linebacker.
Yeah,
He's more of a speed guy. He has that range. He has everything you want in these new like hybrid type of linebackers you're seeing now. Really, I really like the
yeah,
player. I really like the position. Yeah,
yeah,
it's high grade for me.
yep.
Moving on here, Isaiah Wilson, the tackle from Georgia. Now, I don't know much about Isaiah Wilson. I'm going to be honest here. So I'm going to let you go first before I give my grade.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I also don't know much about Isaiah Wilson. I mean, I saw when ESPN was giving the highlight reel about him. I don't know much about him because I didn't do much homework on him because I didn't expect him to go day one. Uh, yeah. But here's the thing: they do need an offensive tackle.
Yeah, they
Uh,
filled the position of need, like a really
they
big
fill the
position of
position of
need.
need, and he seems to be a really good player. I'm gonna give it a B.
I'll give it a C just because he's a Georgia tackle, and I think he might have gone overshadowed by Andrew Thomas. So I don't know much about the player. This grade here, they got him ranked as an 87, so it's a high B. I'll give it a C just because I'm not really sure about the type of tackle he is. He has that length. He has similar to Mekhi Becton's size, obviously here at 6'7", 350. I'm going to give it to the benefit of doubt that Georgia grinds out elite tackles.
Yeah, fair enough. And then our next pick here, we got Miami Dolphins. They got Noah Igbinoghene from Auburn.
Ooh, nice
Uh,
spelling that, pronouncing that name, man. I respect it.
yeah. So here, this was a great pick, but the only problem is they already paid for Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. So this is like another Cowboys type of situation where they're just pouring more money into a position that they
They
don't.
already have tons of players that, yeah.
Exactly. Uh, as a player, I mean, he's a great corner. I think Gladney and Fulton are better, but not by a lot. Uh, I'm gonna give it a C minus. Maybe I'm gonna give it a D plus. Actually, it's not a.
Yeah.
It's not a pick that
I
interests
really
me.
like the player. I've been talking about him. I've been talking about him for a while, to at least you. And I had him in our first mock draft going, I think 31st. So pretty much around here. I really like the player. I think if he had stayed an extra year in Auburn, he would have been a first round pick coming into 2021. And he was a first round pick this year, which shows you how good he actually was. Really athletic, has all that the tools you want, all of that. Bit raw, and he can work on that. I'm going to give it a D plus. I really like the player. Don't like the position, unless they're planning on letting Xavier Howard go anytime soon, which I wouldn't really do because you've invested a ton of money in him and Myron Jones. But I just digress. Brian Flores, you're a great head coach, so we'll see what you're doing here. If he plays a good slot cornerback role, which I don't know, maybe you can transition him from there. I'll give it a C minus because I think he'll probably start in the slot actually.
Yeah. And then our 31st pick, the Minnesota Vikings here, they picked Jeff Gladney, cornerback out of TCU. This was a great pick. Immediate replacement for Xavier Rhodes, who's now on my Indianapolis Colts. Uh, Great. I mean, yeah, I think this pick was good because it solved a need that they have. Um, yeah, Mike Zimmer likes to draft corners as well. Uh, yeah,
I'm
great
going to give
pick.
this a solid B. What about you?
I gave it an A.
I think I like that they traded back for him and they still got their guy. I had them getting him at 25 or whatever in multiple mock drafts, both that I recorded for this show and also on my own. I really like the
That's
player. I
another.
really like
That's the reason
the
I gave it an A because of the value. I'm
yeah, they
surprised
got good
Gladney
value
went to
here.
31. Yeah. And then our last pick, I think you should probably talk about this one because it excites you more than it
Oh
excites.
yeah. So we're gonna talk about a guy I really like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of Louisiana State University, LSU. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
He's small. He's 5'7", 207. I think he's a bowling ball, bro, and I think he's the perfect pick for that type of team. He's he's great. Joe Burrow said he's the best player he's ever played with. And Joe Burrow's played with the Bosa brothers. He's played with Zeke Elliott. He's played with Michael Thomas. He's played with all these guys. There's a reason why. It's because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a damn good football player. He's if you need him to get 3 yards, he'll get 5 yards to get the first down. If you need him to make some clutch plays, which he did against Alabama multiple times, he was pretty much the only reason they won that game multiple times over and over again. If they had another running back, they probably don't win that game. Alabama probably successfully comes back and wins that game. I'm really
Yeah.
high. I don't think he's the best running back in this class. I think Jonathan Taylor's better than him. You have DeAndre Swift better than him, which I do as well. I I think this fit though is perfect. So I'm gonna give this my superstar A plus grade because I really like
Really?
the player.
Wow.
I like this fit.
Okay. So I'm gonna give this an A minus, and here's the reason I'm gonna give it an A minus because they still have Damian Williams in the backfield, and Damian Williams just killed it in the Super Bowl. I think that's the main reason I'm giving it an A minus. That's the only reason I'm giving it an A minus. Clyde Edwards-Helaire killed it in the college football playoff, along with his side guy, along with the superhero Joe Burrow. Yeah, I like the fit. I love the fit. I think if you're looking into fantasy dynasty leagues, he's going to be a future number one, maybe number two pick for
Ooh,
this
some
upcoming
elite
year.
fantasy talk here. I love it.
Yeah. Because I mean, I really like the fit, dude. I don't. It's just a great fit. It's rarely, very rare. I'm that. It's like a perfect fit. I like it a lot. So in that aspect, I can see where you're giving it an A plus. I just don't see. I mean, they have Damian Williams. That's the only reason I'm not giving it an A plus. But yeah.
Yeah. Let's just talk about some best available players that dropped down. So we can start off here at we can talk at some guys I like. I really like Xavier McKinney here. Ezra Cleveland was a guy that people were talking about maybe Cleveland dropping up, potentially trading down and drafting him. Antoine Winfield is a really big sleeper from Minnesota. His dad played in the NFL. Man's really good. All the running backs really are low-key sleepers. T. Higgins, I think, is a huge sleeper here. Yatur Gross-Matos, all the safeties, Xavier McKinney, Grant Delpit, Ashton Davis, you were talking about Trevon Diggs earlier, Josh Jones, Michael Pittman, the wide receiver from USC. He's a guy you're really interested in for the Colts. Denzel Mims. Any other of these guys that you're really interested in here?
So yeah, I'll just give you my list, I guess. So I have DeAndre Swift here. I have Xavier McKinney. Ross Blacklock is another name. T. Higgins, Denzel Mims. I'm surprised. I'm still surprised Mims didn't get picked, but that's whatever. AJ Epineza, Jalen Johnson out of Utah, Yetur Gross-Matos, Zach Bond out of Wisconsin, and then I expect. I heard Mel Kiper today. He was talking about in the second round. He expects 5 running backs to get picked in the second
Zach
round.
Moss is a guy worth looking at as well when you're talking about
Yeah,
running backs. He's really good
yeah.
from Utah. You have Cam Akers. You have JT from Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor. You have the other two
J.K.
guys
Dobbins.
and
You have Lavisca
Swift.
Chenault, another guy I expect to get taken in the second round. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. Josh
Terrell
Jones.
Lewis. He's my underrated pass rusher from Alabama. He had some injury issues, but man was a baller. I think without those injury issues, he would have been a debatable first round pick. Ashton Davis is a guy I want everyone to look at because he's not going to be picked at whatever this rank has him as, like 40. He's going to be picked really early instead of this like top 40 players available. He's 100% in that area. KJ
Yeah.
Hamler is a guy I really like.
Yep.
And Jabari
Uh,
Zuniga from Florida. He's another guy. Ooh, Christian Fulton. You can talk about him because I know you love him.
yeah. Christian Fulton. Yeah, I had him going in the late, not super late, but late first round. I thought he would be taken by now. Gladney was a good pickup. But yeah, I thought Fulton would be gone. I think he'd be a great fit for any cornerback needing team. Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame, the tight
Yeah,
end. I think
saw him tight
that's
end.
another great player to look out for. Antoine Winfield, I think you already talked about. Michael Pittman, you already talked about. Trevon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama, another great player. And out of the quarterbacks, I expect Jacob Eason, Jake Fromm, and Jalen Hurts, all of them to
Look
be
for
on.
Jalen Hurts to the Patriots. I think I already said that, but
Yep,
he's such a good decision maker. He's improved every single season, unlike a player like Justin Herbert and even Jordan Love, where he declined
yeah,
from his sophomore to I believe his junior season. Look for
yep,
Jalen Hurts. He's the highest quarterback I'm on right now. Look out for him. Anything else
yep.
you want
And
to say before we head out, Amal?
yeah, nothing much really. I think yeah, also we didn't talk about Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson's another name to look out
From
for.
Florida. Yeah. He's
Florida. Yeah.
second best route runner in this class. So watch out for him. Day two is going to be really exciting. Look out for Jacob Eason, like you said. He's really good, underrated. Someone like Amik Robertson, another cornerback from Louisiana Tech. Yeah, look out for all these guys. Devin Duvernay as well. I think those are all really solid. Lucas Nye, the tackle from TCO. Just look out for all these guys. Even Bryce Hall. Those guys are going to be guys you want to look at. Yeah,
So
you got
yeah, apparently Yannick Ngakoue did not draw any trade interest.
Yeah, it's probably because he went on a Twitter beef against his owner's son, I'd assume.
Unbelievable. I expected him to be traded today. I'm not gonna lie. I expected him to be traded. I expected Leonard Fournette to be traded as well,
Yeah.
and neither to
Look for
happen.
those names day 2 and day 3. I think someone like Alshon Jeffrey might be a surprise trade, though I doubt
Yes,
it.
Alshon Jeffrey is another name to look out for. Marquise Goodwin, because considering they just got Ayuk, I think the Niners would shop Marquise Goodwin. That's another name to look out for.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to
Nothing else
say.
to add. I got nothing else to add, man.
Okay. So thanks for listening to this episode over here. We're gonna try to cover day 2 as much in depth as we can. Obviously, the later we go, the more unknown players we know, but still, I want to see how this draft unfolds. Really was exciting. So thanks for listening. Share this video, like it, leave a review on podcast if you can. Do all that fun stuff. And yeah, thanks for all that. And I'm excited for this draft going forward. So yeah, peace out and bye.